Okay, now it's... It still got you.
Really?
Yeah, it still got you. Oh, you did beat it. This right here is the Pocket 3 from DJI. I said DJI, not DJI. I will probably say DJI more in this video, but for now, I do know that it is DJI. You can save the comments. Yeah. So we've got the Pocket 3 from DJI, and we have this little guy, which I think I can say some stuff about this. I'm gonna check. I can tell you that it is called the DJI Wireless Mic 2 transmitter. Get this thing clipped on. But this guy right here is a 179 gram camera gimbal system with 2-inch rotatable touchscreen, boop, on the back there, and a 1-inch CMOS sensor. A 1-inch sensor in a pocket gimbal camera. It's real good. We just got back from a trip to Seattle for the weekend, and I filmed all video footage from the trip on just this thing. I did not bring out my big camera once to film video. And while my notes from the trip include plenty of things that I was like, that's weird, like why didn't they do it a different way? I will say overall, the DJI Pocket 3, this thing's gonna be a massive win for DJI. DJI. It's so hard, like my mouth doesn't wanna do it. 4K 60 video recording, 4K 120 frames a second, slow motion recording, 10-bit D-Log M footage. But let's just jump into this thing physically, and right away, like the first thing that you see is a 2-inch touchscreen on the back that rotates from vertical to horizontal. And when you rotate it, you can have it do two different things. One is you can have it just turn on, that flip the screen, gimbal turns on, or you can have it how I have it, where I flip the screen, it comes on, and it starts recording a video clip right away. So from in my pocket to actually recording a clip, it's super quick. Like I pretty much always turned the gimbal off when we were walking around the city because I knew turning it back on and getting it recorded again was so quick. All right, let's see how long before it starts recording a clip. Ready? 1,000, 2, 1,000. Like within 2 seconds, it's already recording a clip. That's pretty good. And this screen's gonna look real familiar if you've used the Action 4 much, because I think like messing around with it, touching it, going through it, it works really, really similarly, except that it doesn't have a very big bezel. Like the bezel around this guy is like, I don't know, like a third on this camera. Look how tight that bezel is. Like that is an almost edge-to-edge screen on there. Right below that, you'll notice the joystick and record button. That joystick being used to do different gimbal moves, but also as a button. Just like all DJI gimbals, if you're kind of in a weird spot and you're like, oh, the gimbal's kind of, I've turned it so much, you just double tap that. That's gonna recenter the gimbal, and if I triple tap it, it turns it around and goes to selfie mode. Flip that back around, and then right next to that is the record button / on/off button. So you can use the screen, but I can also just press and hold that button there, and we turn the gimbal off. I can press and hold it and turn it back on. Then over to the side there, you'll see the micro SD card slot, and you'll notice it is not behind a door of any sort. So this is not waterproof, not a waterproof gimbal. If you're going for waterproof, you want the Action 4. If you don't worry so much about waterproofability, the DJI Pocket 3. And while it's for sure water resistant of some sort, because we were walking around Seattle, it was drizzling most of the day, and I just went with it. I just rocked it. I walked around in the drizzle all day long, just kind of kept wiping the screen, wiping the lens, and no issues with a little drizzle. Down to the bottom here, we have a USB-C port on the bottom, and it comes with this little adapter block. You plug this into the bottom of your gimbal. It gives you a little bit more of a grip, which I think like this is actually the size grip that I like more. If you don't have it on there, you're kind of more like finger gripping it, like your pinky doesn't have anywhere to go. You pop this bad boy on the bottom, all of a sudden, like you have a much better hold on this gimbal. And that moves the USB-C port to the back, and it gives you a 1/4-20 mount on the bottom. But once you have that 1/4-20 on the bottom, you can now use their adorable little tripod. You can screw that in, and now, like this is kind of its best form, I think. Like it does obviously make this thing nice and long. You've got plenty of grip on it. There's like plenty of ways you can two-hand grip it now, but you can kind of cruise around like this, flip open those feet, and then pop it on a table and do all sorts of cool tracking that we will get to in a minute. I will confirm whether this comes with the normal package or just the creator combo. They sent me the creator combo. Comes in this bag with a bunch of stuff. I would say pretty confidently that if you're going to get the DJI Pocket 3, you should get the Creator Combo. It comes with a lot of really useful things. Now, for battery runtime on the Pocket 3, we have an internal battery in here, and we get 166 minutes out of the 1300 milliamp battery. And we've talked plenty about battery runtimes on this channel before. That is DJI's like perfect runtime at 1080, not shooting 4K, 1080 in like perfect conditions. But I was shooting this thing at 4K up in Seattle, little cooler conditions, but I was seeing between 145 and 150 minutes out of an internal battery. And what's crazy on this thing is the fast charge time. In 16 minutes of charging with a 65 watt adapter. Do I have one right here? 65 watt adapter, a little bit larger brick. This thing will go to 80% in 16 minutes, and then it only takes 32 minutes to get to 100% battery. But again, in the Creator Combo comes this little battery extension piece. Now, when we plug this thing on here, this battery extension has another 900 milliamps in there, giving us what they say up to an additional 100 minutes of runtime. And the battery extension, it still gives you the USB-C port on the back, so you just plug into here, you'll charge up the camera and the battery extension, and it still gives you that quarter 20 mount on the bottom. Now, as for built-in microphones on the Pocket 3, we have three microphones. We have one on each side of the screen, so on the side of the device, and then one in the front, forward facing. And the audio just coming out of this thing, it sounds pretty great. Like Morgan and I just cruising around Seattle with our friends, totally acceptable. The audio just coming straight out of the Pocket 3. The microphones built into the Pocket 3 are really good. Like if I'm this close to the camera, they sound really good. But if I back up at all, maybe I'm back here doing something, or I turn around. That's where this comes into play. Like having this on you, having this just clipped to your shirt, no matter where you go, no matter where you're looking, it's gonna sound good. Whereas the microphones built into the camera are really only gonna sound good if you're about arm's length away from it. The further you get back, the more like background noise and other noises are gonna come into play, and you won't have as good of audio. Again, with this thing, you clip this bad boy on, you go anywhere you want, and audio's gonna sound great. Also, while the Creator Combo kit only comes with one of these, you can pair two of them. So you could have two people talking and they will both wirelessly beam to the Pocket 3. But if you wanna get a little more trick, in the Creator Combo comes the DJI Mic 2 transmitter. You get one of these in the combo pack. And again, I can't tell you much about this. What I can tell you is that it is wirelessly beaming to the DJI Pocket 3. It is also recording internally, so you have a backup track if for some reason that wireless signal was to cut out or be interfered with. And I think I can tell you it has a transparent front on it. The DJI is now written in white, which I'm not a big fan of. It's a little poppy. And I'm almost positive I can tell you that this little magnet on the back there, one, it now has the DJI logo on it, but it's much stronger than previous magnets. Can I say all that? I hope I can say all that. Feels like I can say all that. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that for this little guy. We'll talk more about this probably some other time. Okay, and now all of this, kind of this Creator Combo, we get a bag here, we get the battery extension grip, we get a little tripod grip, and we get this trick little like action camera feet adapter. And how this thing works, like if you were gonna mount this somewhere, you want it to be really super secure. So this whole thing wraps around the Pocket, and then this thing like locks in, listen to it lock in place. Oh, it's like solid. Like that is like fully locked on there. And now you have this wrappy bit that's fully locked on, and it now has an action camera mount. So now you can mount this on places that you would mount an action camera, but now you have a 1-inch CMOS sensor gimbal camera. Man, there's so many use cases that I can see for this thing. This is it's really locked on there. That's locked on strong. And then lastly, in the Creator Combo kit is this guy, this kind of cool hard case that, let me take this piece off. This little hard case there, you kind of take everything apart, the gimbal is off and stored, and it just kind of flops right in there. And now my Pocket 3 is like really well protected. Like the screen is protected, the gimbal's protected, the gimbal motor is kind of the only thing sticking out. And then you can see like the whole head of the gimbal is fully protected up top. It is also super trick that this wireless DJI Mic 2 transmitter, this hard case has a little bit up front that this thing can slide into, and now kind of that whole thing fits into your bag just like that. So I was pretty much just walking around like this, kind of tossing this in and out of my jacket pocket and being able to quickly just pull it out, flip the screen, and boom, I am recording. Like that quickly from your jacket pocket to filming, again, 10-bit M-D-Log footage. It looks so good. Also in this hard case is two little filters. Let's see if you can see them in there. See those two little filters in there? They are magnetically held in place, and the first one is a magnetic wide-angle lens. So the built-in lens on the Pocket 3 is the equivalent of about a 20mm lens, we don't need to be recording, which gives you about a 94-degree field of view, but then you click this thing on there, and now we're kind of in that vlog world. This is about a 15.5mm lens on there, giving us a 108-degree field of view. If you're big fans of like Casey's vlogs back in the day, obviously he was running around with the 16 to 35mm lens on there, and this is that's about what you're gonna see from a 16 to 35mm lens, but on here. See, watch, let me pull it off. Blip. There's 20mm and put it back on. 16mm. So normally a 20mm, and if you pop that on there, 15.5. And there is another spot in this hard case. I don't think this comes with the creator combo. I think you have to buy it separately. But this right here is a black mist filter for your DJI Pocket 3. Pop this on there, again, just magnetically, and you now have, like, you get quite a bit of halation on there. I'm trying to figure out, like I wanna say it's an 1/8 power, but sometimes it kind of looks more like 1/4 power. I believe it's 1/8 though. I run 1/8 at all times. There's 1/8 on this right now, 1/8 on this little guy here. I always have a mist filter on my camera, and all it really does is kind of just takes away some of that digitalness. Like, it just dirties up the frame enough to not look like this perfect digital shot. I did not use this much in Seattle. Again, I was a little freaked out with the magnetic filters because I hadn't filmed this yet. And I was like, what if I lose one of these filters before I even show people the filter? But super trick, and the hard case again has another spot down there, so you can magnetically put both of these filters in there, and they stay in place real good. Of note, you cannot stack those two filters, so if you have the wide angle on, you can't put the Pro Mist on top of that. Maybe they will sell us a wide angle black Pro Mist filter. Okay, that's all the physical stuff. Comes with a carrying case. Let's talk about that 1-inch sensor on there. It is so good. And with that 1-inch sensor, like the low light footage, that's really where it's at. Like, that's where this thing is gonna shine, and you're gonna see like a huge difference between something like this and walking around with your action camera. Yes, the Action 4 sensor did get larger this year, but this has a 1-inch sensor in there, which is, it's why we always beg like GoPro and DJI. We say, like, please make an action camera with a 1-inch sensor, because it looks like this. Now, the two modes that I most shot in, I was shooting at 24 frames a second with D-Log M 10-bit on, but then I would jump over to low light mode for my kind of like a lot more situations than you think. Low light is more prevalent than you're probably aware. Like, walking onto the airplane, like, that is low light. It seems bright, like you could probably read a book in that situation, but that is still considered low light for a camera. So obviously this did really well in that, both in the D-Log mode and the low light mode, but then at nighttime in low light, like, it was brighter. We're like walking through this little promenade in front of Target in Seattle, like towards the public market, and what I was looking at on the screen and the video that I shot of it was brighter than what I was seeing in person. Like, Morgan was walking in front of me and I'm sitting there walking behind her going, this is seeing more light than my eyeballs are seeing. And for a pocket camera, I will say this is the best low light experience that I've had. And having that low light mode, so those kind of automatic settings are already on there to denoise it a little bit, to boost our ISO. Those auto settings, like, they worked really, really well. Next up to talk about in this gimbal is the Active Track 6.0, which I had a blast with, and it made life so much easier. So one of the modes you can do is you can swipe down and you can turn on the face tracking in selfie mode. So all that's gonna do is every time I triple click it, the gimbal flips around. Now it is going to see my face, and now it's gonna start tracking me. But even cooler is when it's flipped this way, there's 3 smart gimbal modes. There's face auto detect, there's dynamic framing, and there's spin shot. I didn't use spin shot much. The coolest one in here is dynamic framing. And when I start dynamic framing, I get these 9 dots on the screen, like basically, you know, your thirds this way, your thirds, your third, and your thirds this way. There's 9 dots in each of those locations. You use the joystick to move to whichever dot you want. You get whatever object you want to track into position. You click on it, it's gonna see that object. Now Active Track is enabled. And as I move the gimbal side to side, the gimbal is gonna automatically track that object. No matter where I move the gimbal, not even looking at it right now, it's gonna keep that object in that spot that I put it. And that was super useful, like walking down the street, filming Morgan. When we ever go out and like do these travel videos, there's like certain shots that I always get, and one of them is always like Morgan walking. I'm behind her, but I'm off to the side. I'm kind of filming her like this, and I want to keep her like on this third line the whole time. But if I'm looking at my camera and I'm walking, I can't pay attention on what I'm doing and that at the same time. You know, it gets tricky. But with this guy, I just put the dot on her face. I said, boom, hit tracking, hit record, and I just walked in that spot. And she's being tracked the entire time. Even as people kind of pass through the frame, it does a pretty good job of relocking back onto her. A couple of times, it would kind of grab one of those people, lock onto them, and like, whoop, go off on me. But mostly, I would say like 90-95% accuracy rate. It would stay on her even when things were going in the foreground. But other things on here, I wish that there was a quick switch button. Like you have the custom menu that I can go into so I can save a bunch of different profiles, like different settings that I want to be able to jump to quickly, but I don't have a physical button on here like I do on the Action 4, the quick switch button, to be able to jump to those settings quickly. If somehow I can do that with the record button and I don't know about it, that'd be cool, but I didn't read that anywhere. What else? Oh, you can set the camera for horizontal landscape or vertical portrait mode. So now I'm in portrait mode. I've switched to 3K. It's no longer 4K. And you can see like portrait mode on the screen. And then I can flip it to this, say continue. I am filming in portrait mode, but look at the gimbal. The camera has not flipped. So it is slicing a piece of the sensor for 3K vertical mode instead of the actual head of the gimbal flipping. And other notes I would have on it is I wish that this creator combo kit, which is very nice, it comes with lots of good things. The case is awesome, the wide angle lens is great, the battery and the tripod, love those. Action mount, I kind of wish it came with, where do I have it? Do I have it somewhere? I wish it came with something like an extendable stick, because in that mode, even if I have the wide angle lens on, which puts me at 16 millimeters, that right there, like it's kind of, I mean, I am at arm's length to get the camera where I want it to be. Like if I'm holding it kind of more comfortably in here, that is a pretty close-up shot. But if you add on either this little extension or the battery extension, you could put a pole in here and just even extend it like a little bit. And now I can kind of just move the camera around like more comfortably. Like I want the camera this high, but I kind of want my arm at my side. I don't want to have to be like doing this the entire time. And with just a little extension pole, you can do that. You can get a really good shot. It's obviously lost its being discreetness by doing that, but it would be nice to have that in the creator kit. And I don't think I have any other gripes or notes on this camera. I had a lot of fun with it. I would say that if you are going out traveling, like imagine a world where you had like the Pocket 3, you had this microphone, wireless microphone, and you had like the Mini 4 Pro that I just made a video on. Click up there and go watch that. Like imagine this kit if you're going out. So, we even add this in. So like if you're jumping in water, you've got the waterproof version, but then if you're not, you have this. Like these three things should almost be sold as like a super creator kit. They should make this kit. Hey, any questions that you have, throw them down below. Comments that you have, throw them below. I tried to say DJI as well as I could. And yeah, I'm gonna keep playing with this thing. I'm gonna go make lots of videos with this thing, and for sure, like chasing my kids around, like at the playground, this is a way better camera to have in my pocket than my phone. And like, I've got to kind of, focus on them, like look at where I'm pointing. I can't just play. With this thing, I can just like chase after them, get them locked in place, and it'll just follow them the whole time. Any questions again, throw them down below. I will, yeah. 1-inch sensor, man. That's what makes this thing for me. And this guy. DJI Mic 2 transmitter. Talk more about that. See ya. The dance floor is yours, my love. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that move. That's a good one.
Oh, that's very good timing.
Eleanor, do you want to help me with the video? Do you want to help me with the video? No. Okay.
Yeah. Listen.
You want to help me, Penny?
No.
Okay, no one wants to help with the video today.